This would sound funny if you didn't understand that I'm being honest. I don't necessarily always like that I know everything. Because when I say I know everything, I know cosmic patterns. I know everything that there is needed to know on how to live correctly. That doesn't mean I know everyone's details, and I don't want to. I can find them. I know them in a way, but I've worked that out of my mind. I don't want that. You wouldn't want it either. And since other people don't understand, they would sort of be like, "Oh, sure." I mean, you would get annoyed if I kept correcting you and telling you what all the things are, what everything means, and what's in that, and what that means, and what this means, and what that means, and what this means, and what that means, and literally everything. There's not something that I can't describe once I look at it, because I remember it. I remember making it. I remember doing it. I remember what it's supposed to do and how it's supposed to turn out. Only because the letters we use give directions. Not only the kind of directions we follow, but cosmic directions, golden ratio, all these kind of things that we say, that's just words that a lot of people have tried to explain things that they saw in the astral realm as. This is something that invented the light that swirled into patterns. I mean, I have put it in more words and can put it in more words, but that's all I'm going to say for now about it. It's just that sometimes I want to just forget and let people be who they are and not feel how they're feeling when I'm around them. I have to turn it off. I call it pinging because they would say it's tinnitus, but it's definitely not tinnitus. I eat super duper duper healthy, or else I don't eat at all if there's nothing healthy around. I spend at least 3 to 4 hours every day meditating, which isn't something that has to be done. But since I have nowhere that is allowing me to apply what I know just yet, I'm keeping myself basically charged up. I owe it to the world not to just let go and forget everything. I have to keep remembering because I owe it to people. It's not it's not my spiritual right to know what I know and not pass it on, even if people think I'm full of shit. I mean, that's a difficult thing to know that for the rest of my life, most of the people I see will just think I'm full of shit because they'll never take the time to listen to me. And if they do, they'll only see a couple things and be like, wow, that's interesting. And I'm like, this goes into everyone and everything. You have no idea how spooky once you understand what I've gone through is, but how wonderful it is. Because the best thing to know is that no matter how crazy and horrible things may seem, you are totally fine and embraced in the greatest kind of love, light, consciousness, livingness, whatever you want to call that word, that you could never imagine it. I made it. And I remember it in this body from that perspective. Because I was there. There was nothing different about me that wasn't there except for the flesh that's on top of me right now. That's the only thing that wasn't there. That's the only thing that didn't begin this, is the name Dan Alexander and the flesh that's on top of me. Everything else has been here since before this began. All of it. And I'm not lying. Come spend at least half an hour with me. And I will blow your mind, and you won't understand how the hell anyone could possibly do that. The stories of aliens, the stories of everything you've ever heard, nothing compared to what I'm talking about. Nothing. Because I was there too. And that's silly to say when I'm not this big UFO chaser and I'm not this big mythology guy and I'm not really into tarot and all that. I invented them and I remember them. As soon as I look at them, I go, oh, this again. I've done this billions of times. And then I can't say that to people because this person will be like a master at this, and he's studied this for 15 years, and this guy's been into this for such a long time, and this guy knows about this, and this guy knows about that, and this girl told me this, and I can hear whether it's a detail that's not really important, but when it's something that's got them lost, I want to correct them, but then I know they're going to argue when I go to correct them, so I don't, unless it's really important. I will always talk stuff about health. I'll always talk stuff about making sure that you really pay attention to what you're doing, because I'm not going to tell you how you have to think. I'm not going to tell you how reality is. But when I get the chance, I will at least say it. If you absorb it, take it in, think about it, and actually start living it and putting it into your life, then it can help you. Other than that, you can just go, wow, interesting. This is just like other stuff that I see and hear all the time, although this is real life and this actually makes sense, but I'm going to forget that and watch my fake shows and go check out what people are thinking and posting. Like, it's crazy that people would understand once they would actually see what I'm saying, who they are will be apparent to them. And it has nothing to do with me, because the skin that's over top of their body is the only thing that wasn't there when this began too. But they just don't understand that. And once they do, I can bring them closer to seeing what I saw. And I'm trying to find a way to take people there without having them go through the death and all the suffering, because I do know how to get to a place where I see those exact visions again. But I don't want to take anybody there who's going to be terrified, because whether or not they say that's what they want to see, they're going to start seeing all the things in their own personal life and start reanalyzing them, and their ego's going to come up and they're going to feel salty and hurt and want to talk to these people and say, believe me, there's tons of people who I wanted to get in contact with and get even at first, because my ego would flare up, but then that voice in my head that I had learned to control would be like, dude, this is just your ego getting flared up. Of course, you're not going to harm anybody. Even if you would, I would never even take a step towards making those things happen. I would just think them and let them go, just like meditation. You're going to have thoughts of horror and all this kind of shit when you've experienced it all. Like, when you've experienced so much that there's so many people who are like big old veterans who have been through, this war, that war, and I'm not making fun of them. I understand they've been through a lot too. But that's one lifetime. When you really have experienced what I'm talking about, or even another lifetime, and you actually see that there's a separate world and it's part of your reality, and other people just don't get it. There's so many people who talk about it. Does everyone think they're just joking? But even the ones who talk about it, I can help them learn more about what it meant for them and why that happened to them specifically. I literally know why. So I guess I can't say I know everything, as in the details of people, but I know why things are the way they are. Put them that way. And I know why and how things will happen if we don't change them. And I know how to change them. I know why they work. And I can show people. They just have to learn to control themselves, period. There's really nothing more than that, than people listening and trying. Because once they do, they'll see. And you can't take away the truth. You just can't lose the truth. You can't go, oh, okay, I'll go back to what I was thinking before. You can't. Unless you're silly. Unless you're that numb and scared. But when enough people start standing up, they won't be scared anymore. There's nothing to be scared of. You only seem to die for a split second. You may go into a period of torment and lostness. We can say it that way. But you do come back to something, and you will be fine. Whether you've ever understood it or not, I can show you. I have no doubt. Of course I have no doubt. I've been through this so many times that when people say that there's no such thing as reincarnation, I just want to go, oh my goodness, let your ego slap them. But I can't. I love them. And at one point I always knew there was deep down, but there was a part of me that been like, I don't know. If there is, there is. If there isn't, there isn't. I was too numb to care. But when you really wake up, when God merges with you, when the universe spills down into you and says, hey, I love this place, I'm going to stay here. Now tell the people about this. Then, of course, you're going to feel great about it. And you're not going to doubt anything about anything. Like, I understand that everything has will and is going to happen again. It doesn't matter. And at the same time, that's what matters when it comes into form. It's not me double talking or silly talking. It's just the way it is. And it's that simple, except we get angry about things that seem to be important to us. Like, now people are threatening others' lives and we feel threatened. So we go, oh, this is important to me. A couple of weeks ago or a couple months ago, before any kind of news report came on, or just the day before you heard of something, you were just like, yeah, doing whatever you were doing. You might have had your own other problems, but then this dramatic thing happens and you go, oh my goodness, life means something for a minute. And then somehow you get numb again. This is the kind of stuff they do to see how numb and to see how receptive and reactive people are. or responsive, basically. Hopefully they'd be responsive, but everyone's just reactive. They just jump up and do whatever anyone says. This is how I respond. They go, okay, we'll send you money. Oh, there's another problem here. Send those people money. Oh, there's a catastrophe and the people there need money. Send them money and clothes. Oh, there's something that went over here and they're having a shortage. They had a national weather emergency. Send them some money and some clothes. Like, people don't understand that a lot of this stuff is made up just to get you to help. I mean, a lot of it isn't. Some of it isn't. But there's a lot of it that is. And the problem is that we have people that are willing to mess with people like that. And there's other people that are just like, no, people wouldn't do that. And of course they would. They have been for a long, long time. And until you just swallow your pride and say, damn, I didn't want to think they did, but they do, you're going to be doomed. So think about those things. Later.